welcome to the current episode of Dungeons & Dialogue, brought to you by your D&D Channel. As ever, I am your host, Joey, and I'm here with Dylan, Sam, and Nicole.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Scott is currently out sick. He wasn't able to make it to this podcast recording, which really does suck, although we hope he gets better, because today is going to start the podcast journey through the water campaign, which I'm sure long-time listeners have heard about in the various different episodes that we've done.
We talk about it like
all the time.
So.
It's one of the greatest campaigns, really, I think I've ever been a part of, even if it was for one session.
I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
It's one of the best campaigns I ever had the pleasure of playing through.
Right. So what we're looking here to do is to really just recap the whole thing from the beginning. So let's go ahead and start off with that in the beginning of this water campaign. Did it ever get an official name?
Yeah, it was called The Sea of Monsters.
The Sea of Monsters
was actually the name of the campaign, but we kept calling it the Water Campaign because because that was how it started. When Rodney was like, "I'm going to start a new campaign," and we were actually going to record it for your D&D channel. Like that was the goal.
Yeah, it was going to be the first campaign.
We told him we wanted to play a water campaign. That's exactly what we told him. We were like, "Look, we've never played on boats, you know what I mean, and actually been on the ocean and stuff. And D&D has so much shit in the ocean, so it was that's a huge expanse to play in. So we were like, we wanted to do that, and because we did that, that was what made it start being called the Water Campaign, because that was just what we told them we wanted at the start, and that never really went away.
Nope, not at all. And in fact, I think pretty much all of us who were there for that first session were upset that we started on land.
Yeah, it was you, me, and Scott.
Yeah.
Sam and Nicole weren't in the group yet.
And I was the ever illustrious captain of the entire pirate crew that we were starting up from the ground.
We actually had, believe it or not, there was a session early on where we had Nick Gordon. I think it was the very first session. We also had Nick. You might want to beep his last name. I didn't mean to say that. But we had Nick, and then we had Joey, the other Joey, as well, for one session.
I don't think I was a part of that.
You were, because
I don't remember.
It was at the very beginning. But I don't think they stuck around. I think that was actually why we decided not to record that campaign, which was a huge mistake, because that campaign went on for a fucking year.
Yeah, I know.
So,
trust me, I am aware of how long that campaign went on, waiting for the next campaign to start to try and jump in.
That makes sense. Well, because you were in it at the beginning, and it was you were going to be the captain.
Yeah, that was my whole character spec for that.
And then Scott was a kobold that was going to go through the dragon rot stuff to try to become a dragon. And then I was just a wizard who wanted to be the navigator on the boat. I don't remember what Nick and Joey were. I just remember when I was looking through stuff, I found their sheets, their pirate sheets, and they were both level 1 for the pirate campaign. I forget what their names were and everything, but I remember they might not have recorded a session with us. They might not have played. That might be what it is. Maybe they were going to. I honestly don't remember. It was so long ago at this point. But we started off, it was on land for the first 3 levels with you, me, and Scott. And that wasn't too hard. We killed some orcs or something. It wasn't a big thing.
Oh yeah, we killed some orcs. That turned out super well.
Yeah,
do you want to go through that real quick?
I remember it started with
Have you two heard about the orc incident?
I think so. I'm not sure.
It's
been a while.
The first quest we get is on land from the king of this land that we're in, and it's to assault this decrepit castle that has an encampment of orcs in it. And of course we're like, yeah, we'll go fuck up some orcs. Fuck them.
Yeah, orcs. Whatever.
And we get there and we fight through. We find the secret entrance on the side of the fucking castle that was big enough for us all to get through. And we get into this encounter and I almost fucking die.
Yeah.
I'm literally down to 1 HP.
Well, because we were all really low levels, so we're using dancing lights to try to distract them and move them away.
There's
and
20 of these motherfuckers in at least one room. Just one room, there's 20 of these dudes.
They're marching and doing workouts and throwing rocks at each other and catching them. It's training.
Fun.
Yeah,
with their baseball.
And so we're just man, fuck these guys. And we did end up we ended up cheesing their general, because I remember
so hard.
I shot him with a magic missile from across the
balcony
room or whatever. Balcony.
We found a back door, and there was a point where I literally got down to 1 HP, and as a character I'm like, fuck this, and go to leave, and the rest of the party's like, no dude, don't leave.
Yeah, we have to be.
You're our captain, you got to lead us, and I'm like, all right, and I turn around, and surprisingly that's not when I died. Because we beat the entire encampment.
we actually
wrecked
did.
the shit out of that entire place.
And so that was like when we got level 2, or maybe even level 3, because we fought some smaller like groups, like 1 or 2 orcs at a time. One of them was like a group of 6. So we had fought some stuff. It wasn't like that was the first thing we did.
I set a tree on fire from the inside of the tree.
What?
How'd you do that? I don't remember that.
We were sleeping for the night, and I found a hollowed out tree to sleep in, and we got surrounded by orcs.
Oh, I remember
And
that.
I'm like, we need a distraction, and I just doused the inside with oil and lit it on fire and ran.
Yeah, I remember that. We got away.
Yeah.
And that was when we met. Rosewood was when we had finished killing the general who had taken over this old abandoned castle, and we're heading back to the land.
Oh yeah, the very first time we met Rosewood, and we did not pick him up.
No, we didn't. He was actually mad at me because my character had a tankard of ale, and I left the tankard in the woods when it was empty. I just left it because I was like, I don't need this. And then like we'd walked like halfway back to where we were going, and like this druid with like 5 like other druids that are all like death culty are like, hey, go pick up your trash. And I was like, I'm not going to tell him no. So I went back and got the trash, and then he's like, just so you know, your crew is destined to kill the Pirate King, and I'm going to join your crew. And we were like,
Nah,
maybe later.
Nah, man, not
Like,
right now.
See ya. Like,
You don't even have a boat. You can't tell us your destiny.
Yeah, right.
How dare you?
So we just like left without him, and then
Didn't we have a weird like standoff with his 5 dudes to where like they died?
well, because I didn't.
Or did he kill them all?
That was what it was, because I didn't think we could trust him, and I told you that because you were the captain. I was like, hey, I don't think we can trust him, and you were like, well, say something to him to test that. Like, so I was like, if that's the case, then kill all your men. And he turned around and like with one swing of the scythe, chopped off all 5 of their heads. And I was like, I think we could trust him. Like, but we still didn't leave with him. We just were like, no, let's.
Yeah.
We're like,
Peace.
well, we agree to let you on the crew, but not right now. We don't have a boat.
We'll
It's
be
a cool
back.
trick, though.
Yeah, it was cool.
Did you teach me that?
Just for reasons.
Um, And then we were actually looking for a crew because we talked to the king and got enough money.
Get a boat.
At some point, I found a pseudo dragon, like a red pseudo dragon.
Yeah, well, we were
King
walking.
of what?
Huh?
King of the Sea?
The king of the land, actually. It was like
Yeah.
the mainland king. Yeah, I don't know what
We
this
never
is.
met him.
No,
You guys never met him, no.
This is before
He was,
we got a boat.
This is how we met Howlett, though, because Howlett was the court wizard for this king. So when we
Howard
were,
was rad.
when we showed up on the land, Joey's reward was a boat. My reward was getting training from Howlett, and then I think Scott's reward was he got to drink at the bar or something like that.
Congratulations, you may drink.
And that's all he wanted.
Once.
So.
Just once.
And then I met Howlett and woke him up in the middle of the night, and he wasn't happy with me. But he was this old ass wizard. And then I actually gave him my pseudo dragon because it was being a punk bitch.
Super was.
And I was like, no, I don't want this thing anymore. Like, I took a feat for that too. I took Draconic Familiar so I could have a pseudo dragon.
And it just didn't work out.
And it
That's
didn't
why
work out.
Scott was such a good character with you guys, because he was a dragon, and you were like, yeah,
I get dragons. Yeah,
I get dragons. I understand
And
now.
I'm like, dragons are strong. I'll have a dragon on my pirate crew.
And so that was how I met Howlett, and he started training me that night while Joey was getting the boat ready. And then the next day,
We were
we
getting
were putting supplies that we had gotten on the boat, and Joey was looking for crewmates.
So I went off to the local bar because I'm like, where's the biggest center of activity to find pirates?
Yeah.
A bar.
Your
Yeah.
biggest mistake.
And we were on like
That
a...
would have worked out perfectly if I
Yeah.
didn't get one-shotted by a piece of shit. Fucking... So I went into this bar, and I walk up to the bar keep, and I'm like, hey, I need to rent out your area for a day to do some tests to find people strong enough for on my pirate crew. And he gives me the price, and I pay it. And he's definitely like, oh, okay. And so I was looking for a cook specifically, because we didn't have a cook, and I didn't want to fucking die in the ocean because I didn't have food made for me.
Yeah.
And Rodney had made up this fucking character that he wanted on our group, which I was cool with, but I still had to act like the pirate boss, the pirate leader.
Yeah.
And so I'm putting everyone through their paces, and Rodney's describing this food and like that his specific character's making as immaculate, and I just throw it on the floor. I'm like, this is the worst shit I've ever fucking eaten.
Well, it was more than that, because the guy... You had all of these all these to-be pirates, like potential pirates, in a line.
It was like
you were
5 of them.
You're like, get in line, and then I'm going to have all of you make me a dish, and then whatever. Well, that guy didn't get in line. Like, he just didn't.
Yeah.
And then he still showed up with the food.
And I'm definitely Rodney.
Like, yeah, he was like, I don't want this guy because he's clearly insubordinate.
You know,
that was like the reason that Joey didn't want it.
If I'm gonna have to trust my life with this guy and he won't get in the fucking line to be a part of my crew, I don't want this dude.
Yeah, so even though the food was good, you spat it out.
Yeah, and threw it on the floor and stepped on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we get through that first test, and my second test is I want one bare hand punch to me to see the touch to strength. And I'm pretty sure Rodney had this dude come at me with full intent.
Yeah, he used the death effects.
Well, no, even before that, like, the first punch was, like, way too crazy. He was trying to kill me right off the bat. And I'm like, alright, and I grabbed my, that's, like, made a show of it. I took my rapier out, and I stabbed it in the sword, and I'm like, or in the floor, and I'm like, alright, one punch. I want to see how strong you are. One bare hand punch. I obviously want to attack you with my sword on the ground. I had quick draw. So, if shit happened, I could just grab my sword.
Yeah, right.
Which I did, because Rodney tried to kill me with this fucking chef character, who was also a death cleric.
Yeah.
Max spec'd out with a once-a-day instant death spell. And we get, like, 4 rounds into this now combat that Rodney's created. And I fucking miss, and I'm on the floor, and Rodney's like, death spell. Dead. And that's the end of my story.
And on top of that, if that wasn't bad enough, me and Scott are putting stuff on the boat, but we didn't know where his character went. He didn't tell us. So we had no clue he was even at the bar.
All I said is, I'm going into town to find more crewmates. And I left. Because I'm the fucking leader. I don't have to fully explain myself. I gave you my exact, what I was doing.
Yeah.
And everyone on the boat was cool with it. So I'm like,
So, 3 days pass.
3 days later, I'm dead as shit.
And then Rosewood comes to us, me and Scott, and he's like, hey, your captain's dead. And we were like, first off, what the fuck? Second, how do you know that? And he's like, well, he's at this bar. The bartender, buried him. And then I'm supposed to join your crew, so that was why I came here. And I don't think we ever really got a straight reason how he knew. But, he definitely did. So we went ahead, and that was actually the session before we met you guys, Sam and Nicole's characters, because after that, Joey, you actually were getting ready to have a baby.
And my new job started.
And your new job had started, so there was a couple of reasons that we couldn't have you in the group anymore, which is too bad.
It is too bad. I wish you were there when you
So do I.
I
You
know
have
that
no
we probably
idea.
would have been able to play with you still there, because that was and they were looking for extras, and that's when we joined, but the water campaign got so intense. It was.
I still think you guys would have been able to join with me, Dylan, and Scott, because we still needed at least one other person, if not another.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that it would have worked itself out, because that's a main group. We all hang out together all the time.
That's our actual friend group.
Yeah, so we would want to play it regardless, but I really wanted to play the water campaign with Joey, because I thought his character sounded pretty awesome to start with.
He was going to be really cool. Because Joey's always done this thing where he'll finish a build before he's ever played the character. So he had 12 levels worth of character sheets just ready. And
individual sheets.
Yeah, and they were
sheets.
So he wasn't going to have any problem leveling up. He wasn't going to have any problem doing anything like that. And then he died at level 3.
In the first fucking session.
Yeah,
I was extremely salty.
You were a swashbuckler, right?
I was a swashbuckler.
Dread pirate.
I started, I believe, rogue. Then I was going to multi-class into swashbuckler, which is a book or a character from.
I think it's PH2.
I believe it's in PH2, but I don't think that was the exact one I used. Oh. And then he was going to go prestige class into dread pirate, which basically gives him leadership. The feat.
Oh, cool.
And the only way you can become a dread pirate, not the only way, but the main requirement is that you have a boat worth 10,000 gold or more. Which, when we get to it, you'll see how easy that was.
Yeah, we started collecting boats there at the end.
I'm pretty sure, the next 2 sessions after I died, you guys already had a boat worth more than 10,000 gold, and I would have been like, there it is. There's my requirement met.
Yeah. We definitely had a boat more than 10,000 gold. Yeah, for sure. Well, we ended up, after you died, and Rosewood came up to us and everything, Rosewood was basically like, so either you or Nerith has to be the captain. And that was basically a choice between me and Scott. And I was like, well, Scott, you're a lot newer to the game, so we'll probably just have me be the captain. And that ended up working out. But the thing is that Rodney had definitely built this campaign 100% knowing that we had a captain, a navigator, like those kind of different ship requirements.
Right.
Suddenly we didn't have the captain requirements.
He fucking killed him.
Because he killed the captain. So every time we needed to make a captain check, I was like,
He's
fuck.
not stuck into being a captain.
I was definitely a navigator.
Yeah.
But then the session after that, you weren't able to come anymore, and that was when we met your characters. We had also met, I guess we met these two angels. They were like half celestials, but I really didn't like them. Like, it was the same kind of thing with Ronnie was kind of, and I don't think he was doing it on purpose. It was just the way he kind of DMs a little different than I do.
He definitely enjoys the DNPCs.
Yeah, he likes the DNPCs exactly. So, and he made these like the same kind of deal where he really wanted us to have that death cleric on the boat, right?
Which didn't happen.
Which didn't happen.
Not in the slightest.
He really wanted us to have these two half celestials on the boat. One, and they were brother and sister or whatever. But, like, for whatever reason, especially the dude, I just really hated. I just didn't like him at all. So every time he would try to talk, I was like, you speak when spoken to. And I was just constantly like, yeah. We eventually left him on an island. It was our island, so, you know. But he wasn't on the boat very, very long. So we got them, and right after we got them was when we met you guys. And it was really weird when we met you, because, like, Nicole was already, like, a vampire death cleric of the Blue Lady, who was the same god I worshipped, so I was immediately like, cool. Like, you know, that's rare. And then Sam, you were like this bug that didn't want to be called a bug.
I was a halfling, technically.
I guess.
By fake skin. I was disguised as a halfling because my character was insecure about how he looked. He's
Which
not
is
a bug. But, yeah, I mean...
You were a Dromite, right?
Yeah, Dromite.
Let's go ahead and get you guys to tell us what your characters are for this.
I mean, mine was just a psionic, like, I wasn't sure what I was going to build it into, but it was a psionic Dromite whose name at the time was something way different than it is now. He didn't really have a good name, so there for a while he just kind of went with, like,
I don't remember.
It's taboo now.
You came up with taboo, like, considerably later. Like,
way,
like,
yeah,
it was
way too long.
Way long time, yeah.
Yeah, well,
we kept calling him Sam, I feel like.
Yeah, like, just random names and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just random names. You just put random names out there.
That's awesome.
What is your name out there?
Yeah, because I thought
that's
that
right.
getting your name bought was, like, a big deal here. So I was, like, disguising
It was. We had made that, like, a precedent that, like, you could seal people away with their names, yeah, so...
I was like, I won't be sealed. Not again. Because I escaped from a thrall herd.
A hive mind.
A hive mind. Yeah, and I escaped an island, and that's when I found Nicole's character.
No, you found me on the island.
Yeah, that's when I was escaping.
Yeah.
Yep. But then Nicole's character, you were just a
Vampire. Vampire. It wasn't an elf.
I don't know what your race was. I don't remember.
It was a vampire, but I lost my memory in the beginning, and Sam found me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We found out later that it was because Sam he'd gotten like ejected from the hive mind and it set off this huge psionic blast, and that was what cost you your memories. We found that out way later.
Yeah.
And I was on a mission or something.
Mm-hmm. You were trying to save Elizabeth, your handmaiden.
Yeah.
And then you forgot, and she was just like not saved for a very long time.
Yeah, that was fucked up when I found her.
Yeah,
But I won't talk about that yet.
We'll talk about that ever.
So yeah, we got you guys on the boat, and then
Yeah,
I guess we missed one thing. Before we had met you guys, we had run into the Pirate King because he makes you say the pirate's creed.
Was I alive for that, or had I?
I think you were alive.
Okay.
I think you came because you were at the
because
boat.
I had the fucking. I actually had the
To read it
print
and-
out copy of the creed. Yeah.
So like
So before I died.
yeah, and we were talking to him. No, I don't know if you were. I don't know, because I know Rosewood was there, because he didn't like Rosewood, because he knew Rosewood was prophesied to kill him too. That was like part of Rosewood's deal. He's like, you guys are going to kill the Pirate King, and I'm going to be there when you do it. So when he saw Rosewood, he also knew the prophecy and was like, oh, fuck, it's these guys. These guys are supposed to kill me. Shit! But, like, one of the first things that he does is makes you read, like, the rules and gives you what's called your Keeper of Writ, which is, like, this, it's, like, this 8-headed fucking amalgamation thing
Monster.
It's definitely a monster, but it looks kind of normal when it's on your boat. Like it's got one head. It looks like a normal human, and then like faces all across the chest and stomach and stuff.
Just keep your shirt on, man.
He didn't wear a shirt. But then they would collect 20% of all the treasure you got when you were on the ocean. And if you brought treasure to the ocean from the land, that counted too. So pretty much 20% of all treasure was going to the Pirate King for the tax.
Yep.
And that was pretty much why he shows up to every boat, is to give you your Keeper of Writ when you first go to sea, and to make sure you swear into the rules, which includes that you will pay the tax. So we did all that, and then I told him that I wanted to grow up to be a lich. Like, that was my current goal, and he was a lich. So he was like, well, hey, like, I like that shit. If you ever actually get strong enough, I'll be your like, proctor or whatever, because you need an outsider for part of the ritual. He's like, I'll do that. I'll be your outsider if you get to that point. So I was like, cool. You know, like, you're a cool guy. And then I was definitely, like, brown-nosing, because I knew he was, like, the king.
Didn't want to die.
Yeah, didn't want to die. So I was like, is there anything we can do for you, like, while we're on the ocean? And he was like, yeah, if you see this guy named Julius the Red, somehow he's got his trapped or something because he's not paying his taxes. So if you see him, kill him. And then the first thing that happened when Rodney put us on the ocean, like, literally the very first thing, was we ran into Julius the Red. And, like, literally. And, well, no, we just killed him. And then I had gotten this thing to call the Pirate King, to get a hold of him. It was like a cell phone. It was like a bone arm. It was like a hand made of bones, and it latched onto my wrist. And then I could, like, tap on it literally like a phone and be like,
are you there? Can you hear me now?
And then he'd answer. So, like, right after we left, I was like, hey, I killed Julius the Red. And he had this thing where if it's dark, he can teleport his boat with Shadow Step. And, like, this storm rolls in, and suddenly his boat's right next to us, and he gets on our boat, and he's like, you better not be fucking lying to me. And I'm like, nope, we definitely killed Julius the Red. Like,
Did he have his thing captured, or what?
We had cut his head off. Yeah, we were just holding his...
What happened to his bit?
Yeah, he had it, like, tied up somehow. I don't remember how Rodney said that was, but I remember we set him free. Like, because we were like, wow, that's... You know, we ended up really liking the Ritz, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
But we set him free, and that was, like, how we really became friends with the Pirate King. We learned his name was Maneth. And I think I actually used a favor for that at some point. Or one of the wishes that we got from him, because we got all kinds of stuff from him over the campaign.
So cool.
Yeah, he was cool.
Pretty cool.
We were supposed to.
That.
He was so cool, and we were supposed to kill him, and we were like, nah.
We're gonna kill something else.
I held on to all of his wishes. I never made a wish until the end.
Yeah, right.
We didn't end up needing a lot of them. That was what was crazy. We were too strong. Like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I switched all that on the boat.
and that was right afterward when we got you guys on our crew. And you guys were a little lower level than us, because at that point we had hit like level 4 or 5, and you guys were level like 3 and 4-ish with your level adjustments. Yeah.
Man, my level adjustments were bad.
Yeah, they were really high. We did some stuff that Rodney set up so that you could buy them back, so that you were able to level up a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
But it took effort.
Forever.
Effort.
Yeah.
It was hard starting off as a Scion at such a low level, honestly.
Fucking, I bet with PowerPoints and shit.
Yeah, it was rough. I don't know.
Well, and we were really not strong enough for the ocean for a long time. Like, Rodney, when he started the ocean, it was like, all right, it's going to take you 6 months to get there, and every day has one encounter roll. And we're like, what? Oh, God. Like, Rodney, do you know how many days that is? Like,
yeah, right?
Like, we were like, how are we supposed to possibly make it across the ocean? So, like, we ended up doing all kinds of stuff. That was the most of the beginning of the campaign, right? We were just trying to speed up our boat. Yeah. Going as fast as we could and trying to make the boat faster.
Yeah, right.
Things didn't really pick up until we ran into Ardorn. I think that was when things moved forward again, because we mostly ran away if it was too
We
big.
talked myself out of it most of the time. I died.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we forgot to say that, and when I got on the boat, the sky started turning dark, and what came?
Oh, it was a wraith.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the rules on the pirate creed was that you can't have a woman on your boat. That was just one of the rules. And the reason Rodney had said that was because, first off, Nicole wasn't playing.
At the time.
So there was no need to have a woman on the boat. And then Rodney has played a lot of D&D with a lot of different groups. So he was like, I'm absolutely discouraging the idea of pirates raping women on the boat. Like, that was why that was a thing. which we had no problem with because that's fucked. But
3 dudes.
But then when we have a woman on the boat, and the Pirate King's like, attack them, Wraith. There's a woman on that boat. I called him up. I was like, hey, I totally forgot to ask, can we have this woman on our boat? And he was like, oh, it's you? Ah, yes. Yes. So, and that was how we didn't get killed by a Wraith at like level 4.
So what's some more shit during that 6-month period that you had to talk your guys' shit out of?
A Banshee showed up and killed Nicole's character.
Yeah, that was like one of the first things that we rolled.
It's like, the first day that she was on the boat.
And I rolled way too low. And it just screamed and killed me. Right off the bat.
How did you get back?
You had it sick or something.
Rosewood.
We sacrificed a level.
Oh, that's right. Because that was why you were already like behind too, and that made it even harder.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you brought back to life with undeath. It was like revive undead
because she was already a
vampire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that because you never liked Banshees again. Like for like the rest of time, you were like, no, I hate Banshees.
Still don't like Banshees.
Yeah.
So salty.
Yeah, I know how that feels.
I know.
You don't like Death Clerics.
I definitely don't like Death Clerics. They're literally the fucking worst.
Oh, I know what we did. One of the first things we did, we went and we got to Hazad-dûn.
Yeah,
that was like one of the first things we did. It was our island. It was named Hazad-dûn. It wasn't our island when we got there.
No, of course not.
Yeah, we got there and there was like shit on the island, and we're like, we need a rest for a night because we don't have our spells and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we were on the boat that night, and the island was just like exploding and stuff. Like, there's definitely something going down on the island, and we're just like,
we're gonna go over there.
I wonder what that thing way over there is.
And like Rosewood went off on his own. Like Rosewood went somewhere on his own. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna take a walk," and that was fine. And then it was like me, Scott, Sam, and Nicole were talking. There was like a tribe of people on this island.
We were discussing how to get to the island and like take everything from them and like destroy like the island or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then it just shit went down.
Because like what we didn't know was that this island specifically was already like a big secret cult to Nerl. All the people on this island were death cult worshippers.
Oh man, I love Death Clerics.
And when we showed up, we were just these pirates, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna kill all these people. We're gonna take all their shit. Yeah, and they're like looking at us like, yeah, we're gonna kill these pirates. We're gonna take all their shit.
Find our cult to Nerl.
And like, we were just talking to people, and they seemed like too nice and too normal. Like they were like, think like almost Hawaii. Like they were like Hawaiians if there was no
aloha, bro. We don't worship Satan here.
There's Satan worship here, bro.
And they were actually pretty cool. Like they fed us, and like we set up like camp and stuff on the land. And then like that night, I think someone woke up and they were trying to attack someone, like in our group or something.
It was just like Scott was on watch, and like lights just started going off in the city itself, like, and Scott like woke us all up, and he was like, something's going down in the city, and we like went to the deck, and it was just like a bunch of people were dead.
Yeah,
and like we're like, oh, did we miss combat?
Did I forget to roll for initiative here?
Yeah, oops.
And we found like some secret tunnel in the sewers.
Yeah,
that was how we were getting in.
Went to a church.
Well, that's how we got there. We came through the secret tunnel.
Like underground.
Because we followed... There was one guy we saw sneaking away, and we followed him. And he went into the secret tunnel. And then he realized we were following him, so he started running, and then Rosewood was at the other end, and he ran into Rosewood. Rosewood killed him, and then we catch up, and Rosewood's like, the fuck are you guys doing here? And then we're like, the fuck are you doing here? Like, you're having all the fun without us? and he's like, well, this big, huge church, like, I just cleared it out. Like, he's like, this was actually a big death church to Nerl, which he was a worshipper of Nerl. So we were like, well, why did you clear it out? He's like, they were going to kill us. Like, they were definitely going to kill all of us. Like, and what we didn't know until later is that, we didn't know this until way later. Like, way later. He didn't just go in there and just wipe out any old church in Nerl. The Hierophant of Nerl was there. And Rosewood killed him. And that's what all the lights and shit going on was Rosewood fighting the Hierophant. And Rodney was just like, he had been telling us, he was like, you probably shouldn't stop at this island. So we're like, stopping right here. Like,
driving my boat through the islands.
So after that, pretty much all the tribe members were dead. The church was like empty.
There was a big like a ritual going on underneath there too. That we stopped.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did
And
all
then we
kinds
took
of
that
stuff
Richard
there.
room.
Yeah, then we were like, well, this island's pretty dope. This is now our island. Like,
Everyone's dead.
yes.
No one can stop us. No taxes. It's free real estate.
And like the
Free
next
real estate.
the next place we got to right after we took that island was pretty close. It was like 2 or 3 islands over. And we had gotten a good amount of gold. We had been, pirating up and stuff and getting treasures.
How were you pirating them?
Just stuff on the ocean, just like random encounters. Rodney rolled every day that you were on the water. There was something showing up to fight you.
To be honest, though, the campaign probably should have been called, instead of the Sea of Monsters, it should have been called the Sea of Avoiding Monsters.
Well, that's how we played it.
Fuck that shit.
Right?
Because every time something big showed up, we were like, "Can we escape?"
Turn around here.
And I had this. The Pirate King had given me this ring that was like,
My boat.
think like Jack Sparrow's compass, where it's like it points you in whatever you want. It also this one was just better though. It was like you could be like, "I want anything," and it's like go that way. Like it was. Yeah. So, like, one of the big things we had on the ocean was, like, a whirlpool, right? And it was, like, a huge fucking whirlpool. And luckily, to get out of that, it took ranks in Profession Navigator, which I fucking had.
Because you were a navigator.
And then I had this fucking ring. So, like, Rodney's like, we're starting to go into a whirlpool. And I was like, which way do I go to get out of this whirlpool ring? And the ring's like, go straight into the whirlpool, man. Straight down. And I was like, all right, you got it, ring.
Whatever you say,
ring.
And we ended up like using the whirlpool
Ring.
spin ourselves to shoot ourselves out over the other side of the whirlpool, and we got out. Like, so like that was little encounters like that, and then anything like we'd run into like gnomes at one point. And there was like tiny little group of
Oh
gnomes.
yeah, the gnomes. Oh, I love those gnomes. I had them till then.
There was 4 to start with though.
Yeah.
And
We sacrificed 2, and no, we sacrificed 3.
one of them I killed. One of them I killed because I remember they were on like this little dinghy. They were trying to get away, and we saw them trying to get away. And we were like, "Nope, sorry, you're gonna come on up here." And one of the first things I said to him was like, "No talking, no casting." Like I was like, "I'll kill you if you do that." And then while we were like monologuing, telling him to get up here, one of them starts to cast something, and I was like, "Magic missile!" And I killed that
He's
one.
just like mumbling to himself or something because he's so
Well,
scared.
Rodney told us he was
Bullshit.
like he was gonna like press the digitation like a stress ball, and I was like, "I said no casting."
I'm sorry, is prestidigitation magic? I was pretty sure I was pretty fucking clear.
Yeah. And then Nicole definitely made at least one of them her own little gnome
I made
thrall,
one of them.
and he was around for like the
To
rest
the
of
end.
time. Like
Yeah.
he's
Right.
probably
Yeah.
still next to you in your god afterlife.
I think.
Well.
No, I sacrificed. This is the last sacrifice I did of them.
Yes. 'cause
Anyways,
it
that's
was-
And we'll get to that. Near the
That's
end
way
of the-
far.
Yeah.
Yeah, near the end of the campaign.
But that gnome was the best.
Was their boat the one that was metal?
Yeah, it was the one because we took that and turned it into like a little alchemy workshop for you.
It was like a smithing shop because I didn't want to burn the boat. Like if something happened, so we put it in this metal boat that we just like tied to the side of the boat.
Well, we made it like the life raft area that you would have a life raft sink down, but it was just like, yeah, Sam's in the life raft area. That's his place. Like,
That's his home now.
That's right.
it's like he wants to just be ready to leave at any time.
Yeah, he's just there. It's weird.
Is that a kraken? Cuts the like lines.
I'm
the
coming
blood
for ya.
drops.
So,
drives off.
When we got all of that,
With the capers.
that was the name of our pirates. We didn't even have a kraken, but we were the
Yeah,
kraken capers.
along and stuff.
But like when we had gotten some money and we had just taken over this island, we went and found this slaver island. Like it was an island that just sold slaves, and we were pirates, so we were like, "Fuck yeah, we're gonna
I
buy
love
slaves
slaves.
and send them to our island,
Yeah,
and then they'll run our island."
do
And we
stuff.
bought like a total of like 100 slaves with like a certain amount of different races for each one that was like broken down.
I
And
can't
they were
believe you
different
guys would
races.
do that in 2018.
What
Well,
was
a
actually
bunch
in
of slaves.
2018 when we did it, it was like, I don't know, 1597 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
We did
Well-
make them kind of.
We
yeah,
did,
we
yeah.
basically made them free will, but they were.
They just had to work for their stuff. They made it. They got through it.
It was like
We
bought
took
them
them to
for
our
society.
island and we were literally like, so look, you're free, but like,
Don't leave
if
the
you-
island.
but if you try to like overthrow the government that we're setting up here, you won't stay free. Like, we're letting you do whatever you want, go have your jobs, make sure that there's an economy here. But if we get back and you're like, no, you guys aren't our leaders, then, well, yeah, we'll make you slaves. like,
Yeah.
Your life is forfeit.
but so that works, like, because we got them, and then the next time we went back to that island, we had even more gold, and we bought like 20,000 slaves. Like, we bought them in like a huge
Yeah,
bulk.
about a ton.
And the dude was like, since you're buying them in bulk, I can ship them to your island myself. And we were like, deal. Like, so we didn't even have to get them there ourselves.
Live there?
Yeah, and then we offered him a job being like essentially in the government.
Yeah.
We were like, go make sure people are doing their jobs, and he's like, I'm good at that. So, like,
He was good at that.
It's like all these slaves, like, finally we're out for this oppressive asshole, and he just shows up with like a big old sheriff badge, kicks in the door, like, what up, bitches?
He wasn't the one in charge, though. The one in charge was Howard. Was it?
he wasn't in charge yet. Howlett showed up later because the mainland fell, because when Joey was still playing with us, we got a quest from the mainland kings to stop the dwarves on the mainland from taking over, and then we were like, fuck that, we're pirates, and left the land. Like,
Yep.
so,
I almost died. The orcs were like, fuck that, get us a boat, and we tried to leave. I tried to leave. These guys left. I stayed on the
We're
land.
not successful.
and then eventually, like, the next time that we came back to the mainland, it was because we needed something from Howlett, and I had gotten teleport and all kinds of stuff. It was way later.
Yeah.
So I teleported to him, and he was, like, drinking in the bar, really depressed. And I was like, Howlett, like, what's going on?
Hey,
He's like, didn't you hear, like, the mainland was overthrown by the dwarves? Like,
Not the dwarves.
yeah, and we were like, oh, well, do you want to go run our island? And he was like, actually, yeah, that sounds like a great gig.
Sounds way better.
And then we got 5 more slaves that we had all slaves. None of the slaves we had bought had been elves, because I was an elf, and I was like, nope, not buying any elf slaves.
I got some gnomes, I think.
Yeah, I think you did.
Too many.
And like we got when we sent Howlett there, we got 5 slaves for him that just became his personal 5 elves. That he was just like, yeah, they helped me with my magic stuff, and essentially the council of the island, and they were the real government when that actually got set up. One of those elves later became a lich.
Yeah.
I'm married to her actually in the end.
Goddamn
That's the
elf.
end of the.
Goddamn elf supremacists.
Oh, that was her you married?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It was
cool.
one of the elves that we had left with Howlett, and then she learned magic for a long time with Howlett, and because I was a lich, she became a lich.
Did you proctor her lichdom?
No, I don't know,
You.
because remember, we showed up, it was way later, we showed up in Hal's Doom, and then she just was there as a lich, and we were like, oh!
Hey.
And I kept calling her, like, Lich Baby or something. And I was like,
What up, bitch girl?
like,
Hit me with the lich digits.
yeah, it was, there was so, like, everything in the campaigns kept, like,
Everything
circling
mattered.
around. Yeah, everything mattered.
Yeah, right.
Man, I would have loved to have been there.
It was really
It
fun,
was
man.
I put so many ranks in smithing.
Yeah,
No,
you were crafting
You
in
were
general.
Crafting, yeah, like everything. Because
Dude,
I
I
wanted
was-
to like be the one that repaired the boat and stuff.
And I had some craft woodworking, so like I was like taking care of the boat when that first started.
I was gonna
And you were like, okay, well, since you already have craft woodworking, you ended up going further into like the item crafting,
Yeah, like armor,
and like enchantments,
art, jewelry,
artifacts, even. And
metalwork.
when we were later levels, it was like always artifacts.
Yeah.
the water campaign.
Everything I make is accidentally an artifact.
Damn it!
God
Doing
showed up.
this!
God showed up so many times. There was a time, like really early on, Sam had just started to get good at crafting, and he crafted this like spider medallion thing. And Lolth, the spider goddess, shows up, and Sam doesn't know who she is.
Oh man,
You know what? To be fair, this is the 3rd campaign that I've ever played.
we're the fucking
Yeah.
lord.
I did not know, and it's not even that. I didn't know that you weren't supposed to ask gods what their names were. I thought that would be like a because we didn't.
Would you
have
ask
that
God what his name is?
Yes, it's just God right now. It's just God.
It's fair.
His name is Jemiah.
Shemaiah.
I don't think it is. I think
Well,
he
hers
loves
isn't.
River
I
Song.
think it's Yahweh.
Well,
Pick a
hers
religion
is,
you're
hers
in.
is Lowell, and she didn't appreciate me asking her name. And I asked
My
for
name's
a
Taboo,
psionic,
what's your
like a crystal spider, because that's what I was going to make my character. I was going to make him.
Yeah,
like,
he's going to be spider
He's
psionic.
going to control spider swarms and like attack boats with spider swarms, and that's going to be awesome.
That would have been definitely rad.
Yeah, right. But
Instead, you got the better option.
I got cursed because I asked what her name was, and this spider would attack me every second, forever.
Wait, that happened?
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
we get it?
We broke
Yeah.
it.
No, we smashed it, and it came back every single time. You
Yeah,
couldn't kill it. 'cause
We had
it
to
would
break
just
the
come
curse somehow. I don't remember
So
what
we-
we did. I think we had to
I-
talk to Nana.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
we were going for a while, and we couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. And I did something else, and I attracted the attention of my god.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like,
Philistine, yeah.
And Illicene was like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "This thing keeps attacking me. Is there anything you can do about it?" And he was like, sure, and he takes it and eats it.
And
And I'm like, whoa, thank you so much.
This is the
I love
best day
you.
of my
I
life.
love you.
Fucking, and then like,
And then I was a devout follower of Philistine,
Mhm.
and I didn't like brains
Nope, not yet.
at the beginning.
And then
yeah,
that was
you
the thing.
should
Was
have
like,
mummied.
Huh?
Mummies.
I
are
did
so
mummy.
good.
he did mummy. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the campaign, he became.
I'm a mummy lord.
Oh, that's where my mummy character from fucking Sky was going to go before
Yeah.
that got ruined by Rodney again.
Yeah, because I'm like, my character was a long range character. I was like, I gotta protect myself close range, and nothing protects you better than not being able to be touched, like
by most things. Yeah,
by most things. So yeah, but that's super. That's at the end too.
that was way later. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. We're not even like halfway. I don't think. Like,
Yeah, this is the beginning.
this is, like,
This is like the first 2 or 3 sessions.
Right?
maybe a little more than that, because a
Maybe.
lot of the sessions would
I
be
think
like,
more.
fight this thing. Like, I remember I was originally going to be doing summon swarms, right? I was going to summon
You
swarms
swarm
of,
motherfuckers.
well, it was going to be cool
It's
because,
a good idea because you're attacking boats.
and I was using summon swarm piranha. So my idea was I was going to knock people off the boat and then have them eaten by piranhas. But like the first time that we got attacked by something in the water, it was this race called the Sahugans, which is like a water race or whatever. They're not very strong, but I summoned swarm of
They have
piranhas.
spiky armor and stuff.
They could shoot quills out of their bodies or something, and they just destroyed my whole swarm. So it was like, I was immediately like, well, fuck that spell. I'm not going to focus on that anymore. So,
And
They
you have,
changed their characters a lot.
yeah, I turned out
Yeah.
way different. My original build was summon swarm. That was what I was working for.
My character is literally a scion of almost everything.
Yeah.
Married to a vampire.
your character could literally row fight the power. You have no idea, man.
Yeah, he's
Like,
got because I just didn't know like what I was doing. So I just started with regular scion, and then like that's not powerful enough. I need something else.
I mean,
so.
it definitely could have been powerful.
Sure, it
should've
could
done
have
the
been, but it wasn't at the
impossible.
time, and we were on the sea.
Yeah, yeah.
And we
you
were
should have done the impossible. You should have saw the invisible, and you definitely row fought the power.
I got a ring. I made a ring that enchanted into original that I could go invisible.
But could you see the invisible?
God damn it, Joey.
No, I could not.
You sure drilled the
But I
drill that
could
with
hear
3
them.
stabs?
My
He did
mind.
have drills.
I know, that's the whole fucking point of my
He did
joke.
have
Is
drills,
that he had
for sure.
drills.
Yep, those drills were awesome. I think they were creative.
That was one of the early
Right,
ones
those.
that we got too. Like one of your early treasures from the Pirate King was he made you like 200 adamant, or maybe they were mithril drills that were then animated, so you could control them to like
Why not
make
adamant?
attacks, or because I think there was
Wait,
a
what?
reason they were lighter as mithril.
No, Rodney told me that they were the strongest material. Mithril was the strongest.
Ronnie
material.
told you that mithril was the strongest material?
Yeah.
It's adamant.
I know that now.
That's wow.
But it was my third campaign, and
I
I,
cannot
thought that
believe
Mithril was the
that.
strongest.
Well, Rodney was really hesitant to give him the drills at all.
I don't give a shit.
He didn't.
I
wanna-
talked too much about him beforehand.
Yeah.
I gotta remember that next time.
Yeah. You gotta lie to the DM until he gets
Yeah.
it to you. And be like, oh, by the way,
And
this is
now I
how
have
this spell
a million
works.
drills.
And just shoot drills into the final boss, and the boss is like, this is way too many drills.
That was my that was my idea. I was definitely going to be like, I had a weak HP the whole time, so my idea was I was just going to put up walls of mithril drills that
Just like that fucking
could
magic
protect
card.
me.
Wall of swords.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a wall of swords.
And they're all animated, so I can make them look cool.
They were constantly like floating around him and stuff, just
That's
single
fucking
ones
awesome.
and stuff. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, right. But I didn't get very many at the beginning. I kind of later towards the end of the game, I think it was like
You got a box of holding
Yeah.
for him. Like,
Oh my god.
I opened the box and it came out like a giant tentacle wave of just drills. I would animate them to look like stuff too when I was
Mhm.
attacking. Like, yeah.
He did like big spires too, where it'd be like, no, their drills turned into a giant, bigger drill. Like,
They
You understand.
attached together.
You understand what I'm talking about here.
Yeah,
Huge
no.
drill above you.
And that's that's
I know.
So what did-
did?
So we got like all the slaves on Hazadun. That was when we started, I think, feeling a little stronger. Like we might have level 6 or
built
something.
like a city there too.
Yeah.
And, like it was like this big city. It was really nice.
Mhm.
It was fun for sure.
And that was our island, and that was when I think we ran into Ardorn. Then
yeah.
was right after that.
Ardorn the Strong.
Ardorn the Unbelievable.
The
I think
Unbelievable.
didn't we run into him like he came to our island or something?
Because he's
That
so
was later.
fucking unbelievable.
He came to our island later
and it was really hostile
because Howlett was already there.
yeah,
Yeah.
Did Ardorn not like Howlett?
No.
they like fought each other or something.
When we met Ardorn, we knew who he was at that point because we had been on the ocean, and he was the Pirate King's right-hand man. His left-hand man was Eden the Terrible, who was actually Nicole's brother. But Nicole didn't know that, because she had lost all of her memories. So we didn't. Yeah, so we didn't know that at the time.
For no particular reason from me.
So when we ran into Ardorn, we knew who he was, and we knew he was unbelievable. And he came over to our boat, like he was standing on our boat, and we were talking to him. And we had I don't remember what it was. He was like an illusionist, and he kept making it look like we were not hitting. Like he had made the cliffs that we were near invisible, so they looked like water.
No, he made us think that there were cliffs there, and that we had damaged our boat super hard, so we were like repairing the shit out of our boat, but it was not broken.
Yeah, it was an illusion. But he was attacking us because I was he was trying to talk to us and stuff, and I was like, "Do you play chess or something like that?" Because my character was all about chess. I totally played chess a lot, and he was like, "Yeah, but I'm definitely too good at chess for you, so it doesn't even matter. Like, I'm not going to play you in chess." And I was like, "I don't know, man. I beat Howlet," and he heard me say Howlet, and that was like this other. So Ardorn was the second strongest caster on the plane, if you don't count the Pirate King, who's a lich.
Right.
And then Howlet would be the first, if you don't count the Pirate King as a lich. So at one point in their youths, Howlet and Ardorn had run into each other, and Howlet beat Ardorn. Which that's like the only defeat that Ardorn ever suffered. Was to Howlet. So when he found out that I had beaten Howlet at anything, he immediately started attacking our boat, and we're repairing it even though it's not broken. And then he agreed to
the dude I don't like. Fuck you.
Yeah, right.
Well, then when
you beat him,
well, because in his head he's like, if I beat you, then I've beaten Howlet.
Oh.
But then I did get him diplomacied into playing chess, and then we tied because my plus was way bigger, but I rolled lower, and then we ended up tying. And we had made a gamble. If he won, he got all of our gold, which was 200,000 gold. And if we won, we got his boat. So when we tied, he was like, "Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you my boat and still take you 200,000 gold." But his boat was worth a shit ton more than 200,000 gold.
Yeah. Wasn't that the boat that lets go fast?
Yeah, that was our first legendary vessel.
Fast.
It was really, really fast. It was really strong. It turned invisible.
We modded it out too to make it go even faster.
Yeah.
And we weren't playing
Nicole
around.
got a bunch of our... When we got those dwarven slaves, Nicole made 10 of them thralls for vampires.
She made all of them thralls underneath the deck.
Well, there were only 10.
Oh, really?
That's all we had, yeah.
No.
But they were able to row faster because they never wore out and never got tired. Plus, they got bonus to strength because vampire stuff. So that was how we went even faster than normal. And then we kept making more adjustments, bigger sails, more stuff, just because the less time you spent on the boat, the less encounters there were in this 6 months travel,
Yeah, right. We had still been traveling.
Wasn't this about the time where I made zombies and put them underneath the deck too?
Yeah. They were they zombies or were they vampires?
I got zombies.
Were they zombies? Okay.
Yeah, and they were hanging on the ceiling.
Yeah, I remember that. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Our whole boat became more and more evil, the longer we were on the ocean too. It eventually got the wood on it was already this old blue dead wood looking stuff. And then the wood started to look like faces, and then the faces started to scream.
First dock you pull up into, everyone's like, "Oh, that's just a boat." Third dock, everyone's like, "We should probably go inside."
It wasn't even. It was. We did. By the way, I don't know if we mentioned it yet, but we were super evil.
Yes,
this is definitely not a good guy campaign.
We were pirates.
Not good guy.
But we followed the rules of the sea.
Yeah, we were all lawful evil, for sure.
We were definitely not chaotic. Well,
but we didn't follow the rules of the land. We followed the rules of pirates.
Yeah.
That was our lawful.
Would that make you chaotic?
No, we were lawful.
No, I know.
Because we followed our own creed.
But
I remember we had that huge discussion with Rodney the first session.
We really messed up our ship when we went after this cruise liner. It was because we got this soul gem. Super big soul gem. We were we need to fill this up all the way.
Well, because at that point you had gotten into enchanting, and the experience cost for enchanting is not small.
Way too much. Enchanting. I was
first. Yeah,
I was still doing crafting, but we could
work together.
Enchanting, so I was making these artifacts, or not artifacts, but these items that were really good, and we could just make them into whatever we wanted if we had an enchanter.
So we got this big soul gem because in the Book of Vile Darkness, on I think somewhere in I don't remember what page, but there's definitely a conversion for souls to XP. And so we were like, all right, let's put some souls in this soul gem, and we'll use that for all of our enchantments. That's the fuel.
Yeah.
Super evil.
The worst thing you could do.
Yeah, Dr. This is a good guy.
How did we mess up our boat when we fought the cruise liner?
Well, we went in and we
Okay.
took all the souls, and that's when we got the faces.
Yeah, that was when because the soul gem we put it on our boat, like it was
Like,
connected
in
to
the
the
middle,
boat.
It was like a big centerpiece now.
So like
Wait, no, we were using it for rituals too.
yeah, we were using it for anything.
Anything that required XP
souls.
Yep. We were doing it for rituals, enchantments, and then crafting. Like
Yeah.
We like went in and I snuck over because I had officially gotten this ring of invisibility, and I had put poison in the water and the food, and they were having this big buffet. And then I went up to the captain's deck, and I psionically thralled the captain, and I was like, all right, you work for me now. I need the names of all these people, because that's the only way you can get them into the soul gem. And he's like, all right. And he went around and wrote down the name, put them on the person on a piece of paper, and then we were able to like take those souls then through this big ritual. And not only were all of them they weren't all dead. They weren't all, so like some of them were like alive, and they were the ones we used for the ritual. And it was fun. It's good
I
times.
think at the cruise liner incident would be the best place to end part 1 of however many of the water campaign / the Sea of Monsters. So we'll go ahead and pull it here. This has been Dungeons and Dialogue, brought to you by your D&D channel. I've been your host, Joey, and of course my guests, Dylan, Sam, and Nicole have been here, and we will be back next time for part 2 of the Sea of Monsters campaign discussion.
yeah.
See you next time.